If you're here, you probably want to know how I made this song.
Carrot, let's roll the dice.
This song is very, very driven by the melody. And the melody sounds like this by itself. It's a layer of 3 synths. One of them sounds like this, which is the main synth. What gives this pluck all of its flavor, it's all of the distortion. So this synth without distortion, with distortion, and I mean, everything comes from this Saturn over here. All I did was basically add a guitar amp. That's it. If you want your sounds to have some weird distortion, try adding a guitar distortion or his guitar amp or a pedal, whatever it's called. Do that a lot, and that's how I create unique sounds that nobody else is doing, because it's extremely hard to replicate distortion. Distortion is, if you move one knob like 10%, you'll change the sound completely. And that's why I think you should start using a little bit more distortion. Next on the list, layer, we got a second lead, which sounds like this. Also has distortion. And this one's more of a vocal kind of thing. I think it's this one. And it's talking. As you can see, the wavetable is moving, which makes it sound like a vocal. It could be a bit more. So that's pretty much it for that layer. Then we got another layer. It sounds like this. This one has a reverb too. And of course, without reverb, without any distortion, it sounds like this. So I'm using Camel Crusher, and I'm sure I'm using the American Crush or American Gain or something preset, which I'm not able to see. But if you're using M1 like me, you can click on the presets and then you can choose anything from here. But you won't really be able to change it, but you still got it there. So you still got the opportunity to use it. I think I'm using British High Gain, something like that, or American High Gain. I'm not sure. I don't want to change it. But then you play everything together. It sounds like this. Everything is being linked to a channel where I'm controlling the sidechain with a Fruity balance. And if you look at it on the mixer like playlist, you'll see that the sidechain is basically just a volume automation that comes down and up anytime there's a kick or a snare or something. Also, something very, very, very important about this song is that this song has basically no strict grid. So when you look at the melody, this melody, everything is sort of out of beat, and it's not a like copy paste kind of grid either. Like it's not, I'm not moving the swing, because a lot of people think I'm just using this swing knob, and you don't have to do that. If you want it to sound natural, you have to naturally change every single sound to where it feels good to you or natural. So in this case, like the first pluck, it's not even exactly as soon as the drop hits. Like it has a sort of delay, maybe 1/16 of a note, something like that. Then the second one that starts on the second bar, it's starting a bit earlier, but it is still late, and so on. Then you go to the next note and it's delayed, or like it starts before it should start, supposing it starts here, and so on. I went into every single note and I try to make sure that every note was off grid, that had something, whether it was like pushed back or pushed forward. This is the way you give your song swag. Besides that, we got a bassline, which sounds like this. Actually, it sounds like this. And of course, it's the sub I've always used since years ago. The only difference is I actually automated the rhythm. So it's going to 1, 2. 1, 1, 1, 1. That's it. And then I've got a layer of 2 sounds. One of them sounds like this. and then the other one sounds like this. When you play them together, you'll hear this. And if you go into the melody, you'll notice that I am playing chords for this bass lines. I've been telling you guys for a very long time, if you want to create unique sounds, make sure to start using presets in a way they're not intended to be used. In this case, I'm making chords with a bass preset. So listen to this. And all I'm doing is basically just creating a triad. Or actually, it's not even a triad. This is just two notes, and then the triad comes in. But this should start like this right from the start, if it was just chords. But I don't know, it felt like it moved a bit more. In this case, nothing on this piano roll is off grid. And I guess the way I did this was because I wanted to create an anchor, or a part of your song that isn't going around everywhere, and making sure that everything can stay on beat. Because at the end of the day, we are making electronic music, and if we want people to like play it live or something that has to do with mixing it, they're gonna struggle a lot if there's no anchor at all. So in this case, I do have this anchor, but the thing is, the bass line doesn't even have like a instant attack. It's like going up and then down and then up. It takes some time to attack. So in a way, it's also a sound that has swing. So when you listen to it, it sounds like this. And again, this has a ton of effects. If you listen to this bass line by itself, it sounds like this. And then with effects, out, on, out, on. It's beautiful. And what I did with this was, first, I added a phaser. Very important. With phaser, you can create movement in your sound design process. And I could have used the one inside Zerum, but I didn't think about it, to be honest. I just went ahead and just, when producing, you're not really trying to be technical, to be honest. At least not me. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm just trying to make sure that everything just feels natural. And I just ended up using Fruity Phaser, which worked out really well. And what I really suggest you guys focus on whenever using a phaser is just focus on the sweep frequency, as well as, then from there I got OTT, then I got another OTT, both of them at 60%. I'm not moving anything else. I'm just taking it up, basically 120%. I could have just made this 120 here, like, I don't know. But afterwards, we got a parametric EQ, which is, again, this used to be the apex secret. If you've used to watch my other videos, this is a trick that I used to do to include formant, or like include a way for my sounds to sound vocal, to sound alive in a way, I guess. So without it, it sounds like this. Sounds cool, but with this, remember, something very important when making music, and this is a technical aspect, the way you include plugins on your list, on this list, basically on these slots, affect each other. So this parametric EQ is affecting OTTs and also the phaser. And I could have used it before, but I wanted the formant effect to take place on my phaser and also on my OTTs, you know? So whenever you're adding effects, try to think about like how each effect that you're adding is going to affect the one before. Then we got a parametric EQ, which with this very interesting part is nothing on the job besides the sub and the drums have high frequencies. Like everything is being basically cut off. So for example, this bass line, anything below 7,000 hertz Nothing is being played. And I'm using it, like I've said, on pretty much everything. If you go into the mix, you'll see that the lead has no high frequencies. Nothing. No lead has high frequencies. And you can see it here. I shaved it off everything. Of everything. Literally everything. You'll see. And that makes it very, very interesting because then I have space. Something I used to use a lot used to be Magic Stereo when I used Windows, and I haven't installed it on this computer yet, but Magic Stereo was basically a stereo imager, which was super easy to do, or like easy to use, to be honest. I kind of missed it. I'm going to download it again. I'm going to get it again. Anyways, besides that, I'm using G-Clip for actually just a soft clipper for the basses and everything, just to make sure everything is clipping. If it's clipping, we're doing business. It sounds like it's good. And yeah, that's basically it for the drop synths. But then we move on to something that I think is very, very freaking important. That is drums. First, I came up with a kick. Sounds like this. It's actually a layer of 2 kicks. One of them sounds like this. Of course, it's clipping. And it has no high frequencies. But then I open another kick, which is basically a stump. This isn't really a kick. And it sounds like this when you play both of them together. Of course, I got rid of all of the high frequencies because if you remove this, it's too much of a stump. Then I got another EQ where I'm getting rid of the lows, and I'm pretty sure I'm using this for filtering purposes afterwards. Then I'm using Transpire, which I made this song 2 years ago, or over 2 years ago, when I used to live back in California, like a long time ago. I no longer use Transpire, which was a free transient processor, but basically what I did was add some attack. Then we got Ozone Imager, making sure that everything below like 130 is mono. I felt like that was kind of too big, so yeah. Then I automated the volume too. I'm not sure why, but I'm not sure why. I gotta be honest. I don't remember doing this, but yeah, I might have just tried doing a sidechain to see what it sounded like, but I think it just drowned everything. So I ended up just mixing the kick like this, like nothing else. Like volumes are at 100%. Like I'm not controlling anything. And yeah, so far that's how the song started. And if you move into it, you'll notice that some of the kick notes, I guess, or some of the kick punches are not on grid either. But with this drums, I am sticking to a sort of like swing. So like anything that is not on the first or second or third bar is a bit delayed. So you can see it here and you can see it here. And that's the only place where there's a sort of like swing. Then I added a drum loop that sounds like this. Sounds horrible, but where is it? All I'm doing to it is getting rid of the lows and getting rid of the highs, because with it, it sounds very dirty, but it sounds so human, especially when you remove high frequencies. It starts getting a bit more like vintage kind of sounding, which is what I wanted. From there, we went ahead and added our own snare drums. So for this, we added a bunch of them. Here's the first one. Again, no high frequencies. Then we got another one. I actually muted this one because it wasn't helping out. So then the next one, extremely big. Boosting some high mids. I wanted that. Then the next snare. This one has a bunch of frequencies, as you can see here. And most of them are hitting here, low, mid. I didn't do much to that one. I just got rid of the lows. And then I added another like sort of like snare, but it isn't a snare. It's just a vocal saying like, which ended up including a ton of high frequencies to those snares. So, and then we added another layer, which is again just a small little snare. I mean, not very small, but look at this. Strong, but short. Besides that, on the second part, we ended up adding a bit, some like hi-hats. Actually, you can hear it here. They sound like this. Yeah, instead of using hi-hats, I used a ton of like breathing noises. I think it sounds wonderful. And then I've got a couple extra sounds like a kind of thing, almost like a crash. And then I did add a crash. And then I added like some reverbs, like whoopsies. So you can see this has a ton of like, listen to this. See how it has a ton of like tonal to it? So this included a ton of basically tonality to the drum. So wait, we're not there yet, but afterwards, then we added the bass line on top of these drums because everything was just sounding so good already. Actually, wait. The bass line, which was this. But anyways, I ended up consolidating everything because my computer was dying. So that's the sub. And then the this is where you can hear that all of those high frequencies shine, especially when a lot of hi-hats get introduced, like. There's a lot of space for everything because I'm not using any, not even on the main lead, which I ended up also consolidating.
Let's roll the dice.
The drop is done. And my favorite part of the song actually is this part. Let me remove the vocals because I feel like they take away some of the energy on this part. So this is my favorite part. If you ever heard that Diplo song that has some like cashier kind of sounds, I was like, I want to create my own kind of thing, you know? And I feel like it sort of gets that vibe, but of course it's not the same style, or like I'm not ripping it off, but I wanted to make something similar, and I think I achieved it. It sort of tells you a story that something happened, like, and then ended up with somebody shooting. Of course, then we include something which I love, and that is this little thing that sounds like a shaman singing. But it's actually just a saw lead with a shit ton of distortion, a shit ton of EQ, and a glide. But it sounds like a human. And that's the magic on EQing, adding like formants and shit like that. Like, real quick, this video was sponsored by Eskar Sound, which is my own sample pack website. I sell courses, I sell a ton of things. Go check it out at store.jayeskar.com. I know you're gonna find something that's gonna help you take your music production levels from here to here. So check it out. Sometimes I can create a melody or like a chord progression, and I can hear a melody on top of my head that isn't the one that's playing. Like, it's just one in my imagination. Like, I don't know, but I can hear stuff. Or maybe I'm a bit schizophrenic when it comes to music. I don't know, but I could hear that, so I just made it, and it's such a simple melody. You can hear it here. It's just, and that's it. Like, this is where we add a bunch of more hi-hats with a ton of like velocity changes to make it sound more real, and that's it. Like, mastering wise, this song is all about this sausage fattener and this luftikus. That's all there is about this track. Like, if we remove all of the mastering, sounds like this. With it, like, there's not much happening to it. The only thing that's really happening is I'm using this EQ, this parametric Pro MB. What the fuck am I saying, bro? I'm using this Fat Filter Pro MB, and I'm basically linking this channel to the bassline. So whenever the bass frequencies on the master are hitting, everything on the mids are going up. So it's like there's not a single moment where all the mids get like drowned by the bass. Like, everything is so well balanced and so fabulous. And Luftikus, I'm using this to bring some high frequencies, some like air to the drop, or like to everything in the song by using the 40k hertz high boost. This is basically a free version of Mag EQ, which I don't have. And yeah, I used a bunch of more plugins, but that's pretty much it. Like, just Ozone and everything. I mean, I made the song sound good on the mixing part, and just with the master, it's basically like just putting a jacket on. Like, you're not gonna get cool anymore. We already look cool, you know. That's pretty much, I guess, what you would see it. But everything else is basically the same thing, just simplified. Like, everything else on the breaks, etc. Like, I do have some extra things, like some rain, some sprinklers, but like, I don't really need to show you that, guys. And then we got this, which is basically just basically a piano getting played and it just reversed, and then just repeating the same thing over and over again and putting a pan on it. Besides that, like, the song is done. Like, it starts with the same drums without the punch though. So without this beauty, exactly, just this.
To make you say we should have let it go. We have no way. No, we are nothing at all. It doesn't seem to change. Said we were building a home, and yet it feels the same. I don't wanna get caught in the lies. I know.
Also, shout out to Wilza for her amazing job on the song. So yeah, I mean, after 2 years of just working on a song and then not being able to release it, you sort of lose interest on the song. But usually that's what happens. But with this song, I never lost interest on it, which is something weird. I think it's mainly because when I made it, my dad told me like, "Yo, that's your best track to date," and I remember hearing that and being like, "What do you mean it's my best track? Like, it's shit." Like, at the time when I made this, I was just making shit for fun. Like, I wasn't trying to release this one specifically. At that time, I was releasing like Future Bounce only. Like, I wasn't even able to release anything like this because I was scared. But I don't know. My dad really liked it, so I guess that's what dr- drove me into finding the perfect vocalist for it. So shout out to my dad for pushing me because he believed on it. And sometimes I think you just need one believer. And when somebody believes in your work, nobody else matters. Like then you know that you're making because listen, I know the hardest thing about making music is really just believing in yourself. And when you don't have anybody that believes in yourself, it can get very tough. But of course, you gotta be the one that believes in yourself. You can't depend on others. But in this case, what really happened was like my dad liked this song, and I had to prove him that I could make it even better. So I ended up making it, and he really liked it. I don't think he has heard it yet, since I don't live with my parents anymore for since like almost 2 years ago. I don't think he has heard it yet, but yeah, shout out to my dad for making me finish this song basically. So yeah, I'm hoping you guys are really enjoying this song too. If you are, I would appreciate if you could let me know like what you think of it, or like what I would really love was if any of you got like inspired and made something similar to it, like because there's not many songs that sound like this. So it would be cool to listen to what you guys come up with. Try out all of these techniques, like make a pluck and then like super distort it, and like try stuff out. And experimenting is very fun, and it can really trigger a ton of new ideas or even new genres. So, anyways, it was a pleasure to be here once again, showing you guys how my newest song was made. It is this song was released like 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't know, but it's still new, okay? Um, I don't think I'm gonna be releasing any more songs this year. I gotta be honest, because we're in November and I don't have anything planned. And I also released 3 songs back to back, like 3 of my best songs ever back to back: Rhythm of the Universe, Synchronicity, and then this one. So I'm gonna try to create new music, and I'm gonna take a break at least till January so I can release something fresh and new. So far, so good. I'll see you guys soon.